News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3, making a preset. Hour number 2 of the Chris Crock Show. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. And I want to do a few more questions. This is a great essay written by a Jewish Democrat who is not in politics. He is the CEO of a public relations firm and literary agency in D.C., and he said, wake up, Democrats, wake up, Jewish Democrats. All the people that marched in Manhattan last December with rallies, with banners emblazoned the words, by any means necessary and resistance until return, are they registered Republican voters and plan to cast their ballot for Donald Trump? No. How many of the thousands of individuals who assembled at Columbia February 2nd and shouted, globalize the Intifada, death to the Zionist state, are Republican registered voters and plan to cast their ballots for Donald Trump? How many individuals who amassed in Dearborn, Michigan, April 5th and yelled death to America, death to Israel, are registered Republican voters and plan to cast their ballots for Trump? How many of the thousands of individuals who blocked traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge in Manhattan and other cities on April 15th, carried the flag of Hezbollah, are registered Republican voters and plan to cast their ballot for Trump? How many of the hundreds of thousands of individuals who have participated in the thousands of anti-Zionist, pro-Hamas protests across the U.S. since October 7th are registered Republicans and plan to cast their ballot for Trump? His point, quote, yes, fringe right-wing anti-Semites are a problem. Yes, they should be considered a threat, but they are on the fringe. If you're a Jewish Democrat, still more frightened by a handful of Klan members than a thousand miles away in a podunk town than the Islamists waving terrorist flags on your child's college campus and calling for the murder and the liquidation of your entire people, you're delusional. A to the men. And where is Joe Biden? Where is Joe Biden? He said he began his campaign and was angry and was yelling about Trump supposedly saying mostly fine people on both sides, which he did not say in the context you say, Joe. It's a lie. He said there are bad people on both sides. And then he said, and there's also some mostly fine, whatever. There's a lot of people that are fine on both sides there at the rally too. And Joe Biden screamed about that, yelled about that, and said, this is why I'm running for president. And now it's his moment. And what did he say? He said, you know what? Both sides. This is his mostly good people on both sides.
Do you condemn the anti-Semitic protests on college campuses?
I condemn the anti-Semitic protests. That's why I've set up a program to deal with that. I also condemn those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians.
Yeah, I condemn you if you don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians. What you actually mean, Joe, is you condemn the anti-Semites on the streets because they don't know what's going on in Palestine. That's why they support terrorists. So way to go, Joe. He played both sides. The thing he accused Trump of doing. Where the hell are you, Joe, when people are calling for murder and slaughter of Jews? And the White House won't say a word whether they would send the National Guard into Columbia University. Nah, they ain't going to do that. They're going to save that for the DNC. Ha ha ha! When all those non-Republicans march and say and praise terrorists. At UTD, University of Texas at Dallas, stunning and shocking. At that campus, not UNT, but UTD today, they had the virulent pro-Hamas and anti-Semite group, according to the ADL, that supports Hamas and the killing of Jews, Students for Justice in Palestine. They protested. They turned their outdoor protest to an indoor sit-in. Police blocked them. They had the dean of students be brought out and talk to them. And here's what one of them said to Clayton Neville.
Ignoring us and not meeting our demands. We want our university to issue a public statement and call for a ceasefire in Gaza.
In Gaza. I'm going to talk like I'm a Palestinian and say in Gaza. We are going to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. My name is Jane, and I want to go to Gaza. They think they're pro-terror. They think they're a terrorist when they pronounce it Gaza.
Issue a public statement.
Hey, does she speak Arabic? Let's hear it. Let's throw down, y'all. Gaza. They are my people. Yeah, right. How big of a house do you live in with your parents? and yet you support terrorists.
And call for a ceasefire in Gaza and stand with its Palestinian and Arab.
Gaza! Sorry, Gaza! Ken in Arlington, you've called in at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think our Jewish friends should be more concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism mainstream within the Democrat Party than far-right anti-Semites? And how do you feel about Gaza?
I can't pronounce that in her dialect.
It's because you hate the Jews. Excuse me, you hate the Palestinians. You're an oppressor. You don't know how to say Gaza.
Right. Hey, what do you think Biden's going to do when Kristallnacht comes to the United States?
Nothing. It's already coming.
Right, and it's going to happen. I mean, he's going to say it's the right to protest, just like those mayors did in Minneapolis when they... No.
He'll say it's a mostly peaceful protest. CNN will be out there when Jews are being beaten down, because you have people saying, we are Hamas. I played it for you a lot. And that means I rape Jews. I murder Jews. I cut babies' heads off of Jews. I gang rape Jews. And then after I gang rape them, I mutilate their genitals and I cut off their breasts and throw it on the ground and laugh at them as they sit there and die in front of me. And I shoot them in the head while I'm raping them. Mm-hmm.
Sure, it's going to leave the campuses, but it's going to go to the businesses eventually.
What do you mean, go after Jewish businesses?
Oh, yeah.
That's the next step.
I mean,
yeah.
They
already, I don't know if you heard me yesterday, on Columbia's campus, one of the Jewish students walked by, and he said that I've never met him in my life, and they looked at me, they saw me, and they pointed to me, and they yelled my name. They yelled what class I was going to, and I've never seen these people in my life, but they're students. So they're terrorizing and threatening Jews now. Go ahead.
But they're not going to stop the slaughter. Biden administration is not going to stop the slaughter on Jews, and it's going to carry out from their businesses to other businesses.
Well, they're already saying they're demanding that this is so funny, UTD is a fantastic school, but it's not a pro-terrorist school. This is a terrorist group. And they want immediate ceasefire. They want UTD to announce immediate ceasefire in Gaza. They want to denounce the ongoing genocidal campaign.
Well, it's already happening. It already happened in Dallas. So, I mean, it's going to happen everywhere.
The only one committing genocide is Hamas on Jews. And that's the other go. All right, Ken. So, hey, by the way, do you think our Jewish friends should be more concerned about the rise of mainstream anti-Semitism within the Democrat Party, or far-right wing extremist anti-Semites? Which one do you think is more of a threat?
Both.
Which one's more of a threat to the? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry. Yes, but which one's more of a threat? Which one's more of a threat?
The first one.
Yes, because there's thousands and thousands of them on our kids' campuses, is what the point this Jewish person was saying.
Well, all the Democrats are going to stand with Biden. So if Biden does nothing, they won't do anything either. They're not going to speak out.
At some point, when Kristallnacht happens, then the next Kristallnacht happens, then it's my gosh. Okay, Ken, I appreciate your call. I didn't want to think about it. It's unthinkable, but it's unfurling in front of us. What is it like to be inside of one of these solidarity camps on Columbia, where, to me, my whole feeling of this is, look, there's no Jews here. Look at the paradise we created because there's no Jews. I swear to you, that's what they're feeling and saying. I'm going to describe what it's like in there, and we'll talk about it coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. But also, a Holocaust survivor issues a warning on the anti-Israel protests. Then I'm going to tell you what she says. It's brief, but it's powerful. Jerry Seinfeld is attacked for doing this pro-Israel activity, and he calls these people out like you wouldn't believe it. In his Jerry Seinfeld way, where, and what Texas congressman's office was vandalized with red liquid and spelling "Free Gaza" just happened. It's on my Twitter feed. All that's next to the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is the number, 800-288-9227. Also coming up is, did you know that Biden's considering amnesty for over 1 million people that are illegal in this country? But what group is it and why I'm against it? Next.
We are Hamas!
Yeah, you're Hamas. Wow. That's a good one. You're what? You're Hamas?
Yes, we're all Hamas, pig.
Well, there they are, the anti-Semite, pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, Jew murderer supporters and Jew rapist supporters on the streets of Colombia and on the streets of New York City. But listen, the another pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist celebrating the rape, murder of Jews, largest murder of Jews since the Holocaust. So are this pro-Hamas group called Students for Justice in Palestine. ADL says they are Hamas supporters. They regale them the terror and everything. In fact, I'm going to retweet a link here. I'm tweeting it to the governor and to Ken Paxton on my Twitter feed, and I want you to be able to retweet it too. Because you'll see here, they were the ones who put out a call to action, mobilized for a day of resistance, and it showed the terrorists coming in on the parachute with the paragliders to murder the Jews on their flyers. They love it when they love that Nova Musical Festival where girls were gang raped and then slaughtered after they were gang raped or while they were gang raped and genitally mutilated. They loved that there were 240 plus Jews who were slaughtered right there that were dancing for peace at a concert for peace. Whether you agree with it or not doesn't matter. They're at UT Dallas, and this is from Now It's in the Dallas Morning News, in addition to on our great news and talk stations, KLF 570 News of Information, and our WBAP too. So pro-Palestine students occupied UT Dallas building demanding action amid Gaza conflict, as they pronounce it. Gaza, as if they're actually from there. They did a sit-in. They're demanding investments be pulled from companies that are facilitating death and war in Gaza. Okay, so I'm going to tweet out to the governor and Ken Paxton, who are definitely friends of our station, and I'm going to tweet out to them. And A.G. Paxton's been on my show a bunch of time over the years. I'm going to tweet out to them and see if they can stop this, because it's a pro-terrorist group. And the ADL has it on their website, too. I'll share all that with you. Jerry Seinfeld defending his trip to Israel despite intense backlash. My feelings are very strong. So I'm Jewish. Is why they asked him, why did you visit Israel? I'm Jewish. And you grew up learning about anti-Semitism, but it's kind of in a book. It never crossed my mind that people would look at me as anything other than like, I like this comedian. I don't like this comedian. I think most Jews of my generation never thought about anti-Semitism. It was from the history books, and then it was something different. It was something different. Every Jewish person I know was surprised by how hostile the reaction was that he went to Israel. You cannot implicitly support Israel. You must defund them and say they're terrorist, genocidal, even though they have the most remarkable, the best ever, and I'm not making this up, they have the best ever urban combat civilian death rates. It is 1.1, I think it was 1.1 to, or 1.7 to a civilian death for every one terrorist death. We've never hit those numbers. In fact, you have to hear this piece of audio from MSNBC today, of all people, on the Morning Joe show, because it is astounding what they say. I'm going to pull it up for you in just a second here, because it's astounding what they say. You have to hear this. And I will share it with you in just a bit on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Because it goes through the statistics and on the deaths of Jews, and it's amazing, truthfully. He talks about the numbers as far as the amount of people that we killed after the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, the amount of people that were killed when like all these different attacks on the United States of America, the 9/11 attacks, etc., and all the people that died in as a result of that. And our numbers are insane, millions or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands. And for Israel, the number is terribly low. and also that Israel cannot defend itself. He says you never hear these people protest the United States response. You've never heard them protest to the 9/11 response. You never heard them protest to the Japanese response with World War II, etc. Meantime, Texas Congressman John Carter out of Georgetown, north suburban Austin, had somebody vandalize his Georgetown office, putting pictures of the display on social media days after he voted in favor of a $26 billion package towards Israel. And they posted in blood, fake blood on his door of his Texas office, Georgetown, splattered with red liquid that spelled out "Free Gaza." Free Gaza! Meantime, Holocaust survivor issues warning on anti-Israel protests can only end in tragedy. Holocaust survivor Tova Friedman on Fox News said, "I'm shocked, I'm pained, I'm scared, both for America, I'm scared for the Jews, and I'm very painful for our young people. What's shocking most of all is that professors, some of them, are on board." Oh, they sure are, many of them. In the meantime, the people inside of the camp in Colombia, their solidarity camp, they are reading poetry, sunrise and Earth Day performances, and a Fatima poem reading. A large makeshift canteen and buffet with snacks, including bagels, organic nuts, and grains and fruit, some tucked into donuts. So, what this is a paradise for anti-Semites that hate Jews. Look at how much fun and how beautiful life is with no Jews in our life. Just like Nazi Germany. That's what's going on in that camp. And they couldn't be happier. And they invite some of the media, and they won't let Fox in there. They said that to their faces, and I heard it. But they are letting the left-leaning media in there, and they're showing how peaceful and wonderful it is. Look at this. All the chaos is out there. It's the Jews. It's the Jews. Just like in Nazi Germany. Unbelievable. And the run-up to it, isn't it? Just like it. Here we are. Up next, Joe Biden considering amnesty for over 1 million illegals who are in this situation in America. And you might be for it, actually, but I am against it. Next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3, 800-288 WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. Okay, here it is. Joe Biden is now considering amnesty for over 1 million illegal immigrants who are married to United States citizens, giving them parole in place and work permits. And the plan is to do it just before the 2024 presidential election so he could bribe another 1 million people to vote for him. I want to know from you if you support giving illegals who marry U.S. citizens amnesty. Because I do not, under any circumstances, support this. And I just can imagine, especially in a border state that we live in, with a great, and I mean that, I'm not butt-kissing here or playing up, a fantastic Hispanic community. We have a huge Hispanic community and a huge amount of Hispanics in DFW and in Texas for obvious reasons. And I love our growth and our connection in our folks from Mexico and second, third generation, etc. But what I don't love, and I do not like at all, is illegal immigrants getting anything but a ticket to leave the country. And I can imagine, honestly, I sit here and I go, there's going to be people that listen to WBAP, to listen to this amazing show and unbelievable show. Okay, maybe I broke my arm patting myself on the back there, but who listen to this show and disagree because, well, you may have a person who's illegal that you married. That's your wife or your husband. But I am rabidly against this because people can marry folks and then have anchor babies with the purpose of becoming legal. People can pay somebody. Can you imagine somebody who says, you know what, I'll pay you $200 a month for 2 years if you'll stay married to me for the amount of time it takes even though we will have it's strictly platonic, I will stay married to you for the amount of time it takes to be my spouse and to get citizenship in this deal. And I've foreseen a lot of people end up doing it, rushing to marriage and saying, I'll pay you until it becomes official when I'm a citizen. After that, I'll divorce you. I'll pay you, $200 a month until it, in perpetuity, until it ends, until I get the amnesty and I divorce you. You get $200 a month for 3 years or so, something like that. And some guy's like, I'm single, I don't care, sure. You know what I mean? Or whatever, $5,000 or whatever the bribe could be. So, and this is clearly a bribe to illegals and their spouses to become citizens and then hopefully vote in the election. All at this magic pen. Do you support this? Do you support giving illegals who marry U.S. citizens amnesty? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. And that's what kind of I've thought about. I thought maybe there'd be some more conservative people that are for it because of the fact that their family is intertwined with an illegal immigrant. And just because you marry or just because you have a child, an anchor baby, does not mean you're a citizen. It does not get you legitimacy in this country. And it's not to say you're unworthy as a person. It's just that you're not legal. You need to do it right. So this is a naked bribe. Just like the student loan stuff is. Naked, shameless bribes. Selling off our country for votes. That's what this is. This is literally selling our country off for votes. There are no borders in the Biden administration. Borders are bad. They're racist, There's no enforcing our immigration laws because that, too, is, racist or whatever they say. Some main reasons illegals who get married are denied citizenship in these cases is because the individual has repeatedly entered the country illegally or they've forged legal documentation in the past. Holy crud. There is many reasons why they have been given the benefit. Again, as I said, they could be denied citizenship for coming in and out or for forging legal documents. To address this, Joe Biden is most heavily weighing a parole-in-place program for spouses of U.S. citizens that were not initially granted citizenship. Holy gosh. So you literally could be denied getting citizenship if you marry an American citizen because you entered illegally multiple times or you forged documents. Holy gosh. And now they're going to get rewarded with citizenship? Status would be temporary and would grant the illegal immigrants access to work permits and a path toward citizenship. Listen to these side notes. This is 1.1 million estimated undocumented illegal immigrants are in this category. These are people who marry United States citizens but did not qualify for a green card. They don't qualify for a green card. And this man, our president, wants to give them citizenship, wants to give them amnesty, parole in place work permits. It would be temporary, would grant the illegals access to work permits and a path towards citizenship. Selling off our country one vote at a time. And Joe Biden's my hero. He gave me as an illegal the right to vote. He gave me citizenship. I'm Democrat for life. Thank you, Joe. Wow. So the White House has discussed timing an announcement before the election as a 1-2 punch following an executive order that would likely upset immigration advocates. They know, whoa. This is crazy. Biden told this to Univision. We're examining whether or not I have that power. Some are suggesting I should just go ahead and try it. Yes. It's just like what Pelosi said. You can't give away student loans. That's not legal. Don't worry about it. You did it anyways. Hey! Supreme Court said you can't do that. You said, that's fine. I'll just do it again a different way. No problem. Hey! Woohoo! Bribes are up. Everybody stand up. You get a free drink on me and you get free tuition on me. Vote for me. Yeah, you know who it is. You know who's your daddy. Do you support giving illegals who marry U.S. citizens amnesty, as Joe Biden says he's going to do now? Under Biden, the illegal immigration has experienced all-time highs, as we all know. And an immigration advocacy group says there's 1.1 million estimated illegals married to U.S. citizens. Man, it's a problem for you, and it should be a problem, and I hope your life is not pleasant, and I hope you realize you should go back home and do it the right way. Maybe your husband or wife should look at moving to where you're from, Mexico or wherever that is, and you can live in paradise together and be able to do whatever you want to do within the laws. That's amazing. This is crazy. And look at this. A woman says she told the Wall Street Journal, and they're exclusive on this, breaking the story yesterday afternoon. A woman who's illegal said she'd fallen in love with a man. He was illegal. She'd fallen in love with a man living in the country illegally and had no hope of fixing his status. If you think you love somebody, you marry them and try to figure it out from there. There you go. So maybe that's what a priest told her. Well, if it's a Catholic priest, a lot of them are pro-illegal immigration. They don't want our borders. They undermine our laws, which is unbiblical. So the idea has gotten currency in the White House. Yeah, it's illegal, and we've said no for years. But you know what? We're sniffing around. We're going to just do it. We're going to just do it. And they'll announce it before the election, knowing that it'll probably get struck down. Just like the remember the student loan stuff? They knew it would be struck down. They announced it before the Supreme Court said it. They set it up knowing it would be struck down. The Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional. Then they yelled, the Supreme Court's rigged. They're rigged. And they knew it would be struck down. And they knew it. They knew it, and they knew it, and they knew it. Democrats said they knew it. One woman says these people who have been here have been paying taxes for decades. Well, great. You're an illegal. Do it right. So, no, you can't wedge your way into amnesty. Do you support that? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Hey, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, I have been wanting to get into this one. It's made the national news now today, too. A Texas high schooler in North Texas, a senior, had the valedictorian title. She won it. She got it. She worked so hard. It's what her dream was until she got bad news right before graduation. And it's just gut-wrenching, they tell WFAA TV Channel 8. We're going to talk about that coming up next on the Chris Crock Show and News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Talking about this, Biden saying he's going to literally just sign off 1.1 million illegals that are married and give them temporary work. Let me see here, the correct parole in place where they can get work permits and they can eventually become a citizen. And my gosh, am I against this? Here's Jim Jordan out of Ohio. The Biden administration keeps putting illegals ahead of American citizens. This decision would be just another flagrant violation of immigration law. Absolutely. And if you want to become a citizen, just marry an illegal. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. I also want to share this with you, this great story, as promised tonight at 9:45. A Texas high school senior. She had the valedictorian. She had gotten it. She worked all her life. This was a great story on WFAA TV Channel 8. And so she had worked so hard. She got the valedictorian, which is incredible. She was so happy. And it was 1 month before graduation. She was in line to get scholarships, in line to get all the acceptances from, accepting colleges accepting her to go there. when she found out 1 month before graduation, all of a sudden, and this was in Blue Ridge High School in Blue Ridge, Texas, in North Texas. And instead, WFA TV Channel 8 said she had been one of the most exciting few weeks of her life. Was anything but. Almost the end of the year, and I kind of saw this going a different way, she said to WFA. Had set a 4-year goal to graduate first in her class from high school as valedictorian. It was the one goal I set for myself for the beginning of my freshman year, and I said I can do this, and she did. But unfortunately, 4 weeks before graduation, this is about a week or so ago, she said her principal called her and said there's been a miscalculation. Can you imagine this? She had already written her valedictorian speech, this poor sweetheart, and I mean that. Her family from out of the country, from outside of the country, had paid for flights to come in to hear her read it. Well, I wouldn't say read it, I'd say deliver it. Deliver the speech, right? If you're a valedictorian, you're not going to read it, you're going to deliver it. Seriously, right? Powerful speech, yes, I'm valedictorian, hear me roar. Yes. And most importantly, she said she enrolled at UT, holy bleep, with the belief that her first year would be free because of a scholarship awarded at state universities to valedictorians. Oh, sweetheart. Sweetheart. That's a lot. At UT, it's probably 20 grand, 18 grand. I don't know. And then she lost it. How did she lose it? Why did she lose it? Well, she said, I don't have that stability now. This is something I wouldn't want any kid to deal with or any parent. Well, what happened was the administrators told Dad and her that the issue was around her transfer credits. Had nothing to do with her academic performance. Her transfer credits. Classes from her last school, unfortunately, she transferred, in high school, which sucks, right? Her last school, or did she rig it to get valedictorian by transferring that? I'm just kidding. That would be pretty ridiculous. I wouldn't put it above anybody. I'm not saying she did, though. I'm just joking around. Her transfer credits, the classes from her last school were not weighed in accordance with their transfer policy at this district. My gosh. I would understand if this is a policy that's been in effect for a year or two if they weren't familiar with it. He said, but it's been in place. The policy has been in place for 7 years. He checked with administrators over the last year to see if his daughter needed to make any summer school classes to maintain the GPA and class rank. They checked. They did their job. By the way, my question is, are you okay with our most powerful... Excuse me, that's not the question I had for you. My other question on this is, have you ever had a situation like this? Have you ever had something like a job loss? Or you got something, but then you lost it at the last second through no fault of your own? A job loss, or somebody turned you down for a job and it ended up being a huge blessing to you. Because this young sweetheart has been wronged. There's no question. She didn't do anything wrong. They did everything right. But this happens in life, doesn't it? You know what I love about her? I don't see her, making these bottom dweller comments about, it's because I'm Hispanic or, all this crap we see nowadays. You know what I mean? The game. None of that from this sweetheart. She's hurt. Wouldn't wish it on anybody. Her father's hurt. They're upset. It affects my future. She said, I don't wish upon anyone else. I feel for her. But I also think, as terrible as it is, it happens. Things in life happen that are wrong and horrible. But, this is not the end of the world here, but it is to her. And I understand that and I respect that. And if it was my daughter, you have to relate to them. You have to have their heart. And what that means is when I feel like it's the end of their world, if you will, you acknowledge that and you respect it. Obviously you may not see that, but you gently shepherd them through it, but you don't disrespect their feelings on that as a good parent, So has that ever happened to you? Something like this ever happened to you? You had a situation like this where maybe you lost a job that you should have had, or somebody turned you down for something, or you ended up getting something that went bad, through no fault of your own, and it ended up to be a huge blessing to you. I'd love to hear that story at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. I'm going to tell you my advice to her. I'll share it with you, and you, by all means, you can share your advice with her, to her as well. 800-288-WBAP is our number. That's 800-288-9227. That's coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. But also, we are going to get into Nancy Pelosi has joined Chuck Schumer in demanding Israel do this, and it is the most horrible thing you could ever see them ask for. And if somebody tried to do it to our country, I guarantee you we would go nuts. So now why are they doing it to one of our best allies of all time?